When you finish this prayer, an extraordinary surprise and an instant miracle will transform your life. Trust, believe, and be ready to welcome the divine blessing that is already approaching. In the depths of suffering, when hope fades and everything seems impossible, there is a sacred door to divine intervention. You are not here by coincidence. Heaven itself led you to this moment because your miracle is near. Saint Anthony of Padua, the unstoppable advocate before God's throne, has already heard your cry and stands ready to move heaven on your behalf. What you are about to experience is not just another prayer. It is spiritual power in motion, the collision between human desperation and divine possibility. The same Saint Anthony who made the fish listen and restored the dead now focuses his heavenly fire on your situation. Silence every distraction. If you have a candle, light it. If you have holy water, anoint yourself. Place your hand over your heart. Its beating means your story is not over. Write this in the comments as your declaration of faith. Saint Anthony, the impossible ends today. My miracle begins now. Amen. If you haven't yet, subscribe and press like. Every share spreads this chain of miracles and may save someone who has lost all hope. Now breathe deeply. Release fear, release doubt, release despair. Breathe in faith, hope, and divine expectation. You are ready. Heaven is ready. Saint Anthony is ready. Your miracle is ready. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Saint Anthony of Padua, mighty hammer of heaven, relentless warrior against impossibility, I crash into your presence today not with polite requests but with the raw, desperate cry of a soul standing at the edge of the abyss. I come before you stripped of pretense, emptied of pride, broken by circumstances that have crushed every ounce of self-reliance from my spirit. I am not here because I want a miracle. I am here because I will die without one. My situation has moved beyond difficulty into the realm of absolute impossibility. And if supernatural intervention does not arrive swiftly, everything I love, everything I have built, everything I am will be destroyed. Glorious Saint Anthony, you who walked with the poor, who embraced lepers, who defended the oppressed, who championed the voiceless. You understand that I come before you not as someone playing religious games but as a drowning person gasping for air. This is not theatrical desperation. This is not exaggerated emotion. This is the authentic scream of a human being who has exhausted every natural solution, who has knocked on every human door only to find them locked, who has begged every available source of help only to be turned away empty-handed. I need you to hear the desperation in my voice, Saint Anthony. I need you to feel the urgency pounding in my chest. I need you to understand that minutes matter, that days matter, that delay could mean devastation. My crisis does not have the luxury of gradual improvement or slow progress. My impossibility demands immediate supernatural invasion. My deadline approaches like a speeding train, and if heaven does not intervene now, not tomorrow, not next week, not when it's convenient, then catastrophe becomes inevitable. Hear my cry, powerful intercessor. I stand in the rubble of my shattered plans, surrounded by the evidence of my failure, facing enemies both visible and invisible, and I have nowhere else to turn. Human wisdom has proven useless. Human strength has proven insufficient. Human resources have proven inadequate. I have reached the absolute limit of what humanity can accomplish, and now I crash through the veil between earth and heaven, demanding, yes, demanding, that you exercise your terrifying power as one of God's most effective intercessors. Saint Anthony, I confess to you the specific nightmare that has driven me to this desperate prayer. My financial situation has deteriorated beyond crisis into catastrophe. The bills that pursue me are not mere inconveniences. They are predators threatening to devour my home, my security, my family's survival. The debts that suffocate me grow larger every day, multiplying faster than any human effort can repay them. The creditors who hunt me show no mercy, no patience, no compassion. The deadline that races toward me leaves no time for gradual solutions or long-term plans. I need money now. Not a trickle of provision but a flood of supernatural supply that washes away these financial chains and sets me free from this economic prison. Or perhaps my desperation stems from health crisis so severe that doctors have exhausted their options and abandoned hope. The diagnosis that was pronounced over me or my loved one was not just bad news. It was a death sentence. The treatments that were attempted have failed. The medications that were prescribed have proven ineffective. The prognosis that was delivered offers nothing but decline and death. Medical science, for all its advances, stands helpless before this disease, this condition, this affliction that ravages the body and steals vitality day by day. I need healing now. Not gradual improvement but instant, miraculous, undeniable restoration that causes doctors to declare it medically impossible. Maybe my crisis erupts from relationships that have not just fractured but exploded into fragments so small that human efforts cannot reassemble them. The marriage that once overflowed with love now drowns in hatred, betrayal, and bitter resentment. The family that once celebrated together now tears itself apart with accusations, violence, and irreconcilable divisions. The friendship that once provided support now deals wounds deeper than enemy attacks. The parent-child connection that once represented life's greatest joy now produces life's deepest pain. Human counseling has failed. Mediation has proven useless. Apologies fall on deaf ears. Forgiveness seems impossible. I need reconciliation now. Not slow healing but supernatural restoration that melts stone hearts and resurrects dead love. Perhaps legal destruction threatens to annihilate my future. The charges leveled against me are either false accusations designed to destroy my reputation or real mistakes that carry consequences I cannot survive. The court date approaches like an executioner's appointment. The evidence against me seems overwhelming. The witnesses lined up to testify paint pictures that bury any hope of vindication. The lawyer I hired offers little optimism. The judge assigned to my case shows no indication of mercy. The potential consequences: imprisonment, financial ruin, permanent record, destroyed reputation, stolen future, loom like demons waiting to devour me. I need justice now. Not delayed verdict but immediate divine intervention that exposes truth and produces impossible victory. Maybe addiction's chains have wrapped so tightly around me or someone I love that breathing becomes difficult and freedom seems like a fairy tale. The substance, the behavior, the compulsion that enslaves has proven stronger than willpower, more powerful than determination, more persistent than every attempt to break free. Rehabilitation programs have failed. Support groups have proven insufficient. Promises to change dissolve within hours. The spiral descends deeper with each passing day, and death, whether physical, spiritual, or emotional, waits at the bottom. I need deliverance now. Not gradual improvement but instant liberation that shatters chains no human power can break. Perhaps the impossible situation crushing me involves career destruction, business collapse, reputation annihilation, or opportunity loss that threatens to erase years of work in moments. The job that provided identity and income has been ripped away. The business that represented dreams and investment collapses toward bankruptcy. The reputation that took decades to build crumbles under false accusations or real mistakes. The opportunity that promised breakthrough slips through fingers too weak to hold it. Recovery through normal means would take years I don't have, resources I don't possess, energy I cannot summon. I need restoration now. Not slow rebuilding but supernatural recreation that causes what was destroyed to be reborn in greater glory. Saint Anthony, you see my specific crisis. You know the particular impossibility that has driven me to my knees. You understand the unique deadline that makes my situation even more desperate. You perceive the devastating consequences that will follow if this miracle does not manifest quickly. Therefore, I beg you with every fiber of my being, do not treat my prayer as one request among thousands. Recognize it as the life or death cry it truly is. Present it before Jesus not as routine intercession but as urgent advocacy that demands immediate response. I am not asking you to be patient with my situation. I am not requesting that you submit my petition for consideration at heaven's convenience. I am not suggesting that you add my name to some celestial waiting list. I am begging you to storm the throne room of God with the fury of righteous desperation, to pound on heaven's doors with the intensity of life or death urgency, to present my case with such compelling power that divine mercy erupts in immediate action. Mighty Saint Anthony, I remind you of your own reputation. You are known throughout history as the saint of impossible causes, the intercessor who gets results, the advocate whose prayers heaven cannot refuse. Your very name carries the weight of countless miracles, innumerable testimonies, endless demonstrations of supernatural power. Do not let my crisis become the exception to your rule. Do not allow my situation to be the one impossibility you could not shatter. Do not permit my desperation to be the prayer you could not answer. I challenge you, Saint Anthony, to prove once again that your power has not diminished, that your access to divine mercy has not been restricted, that your ability to produce miracles remains as potent today as it was 8 centuries ago. Show the watching world, show the doubters, the skeptics, the cynics, that you still specialize in the impossible. Demonstrate through my crisis that supernatural intervention remains available to those who cry out with authentic faith and desperate need. Hear me, Saint Anthony. Not tomorrow, today. Not eventually, now. Not when circumstances align, immediately. My crisis will not wait. My deadline does not pause. My enemies do not rest. My situation deteriorates with every passing moment. I need you to act with the same urgency that burns in my chest. I need you to move with the same speed that my desperation demands. I need you to respond with the same intensity that my impossibility requires. I place my complete trust in you, knowing that you will not fail me, that you cannot abandon me, that you must respond to this desperate cry. I believe that even as I speak these words, you are already presenting my case before Jesus with irresistible power. I have faith that heaven is already mobilizing supernatural resources on my behalf. I trust that my miracle has already begun in the invisible realm and will soon crash into my visible reality with undeniable force. Saint Anthony of Padua, I have cried from the depths of my desperation. I have exposed the raw reality of my impossibility. I have laid my crisis naked before you without pretense or religious decoration. Now I wait, not with passive resignation but with aggressive expectation, for your response, for heaven's invasion, for my miracle's manifestation. Do not delay. Do not hesitate. Do not wait. Act now on my behalf, and let this first part of my prayer be the spark that ignites the fire of my breakthrough. Saint Anthony, powerful advocate of the desperate, as my cry echoes in the heavenly realm, I now transition from desperate pleading to radical surrender. I recognize that my frantic efforts to control outcomes, my anxious attempts to engineer solutions, my exhausting struggle to fix the unfixable have only deepened my crisis and multiplied my anguish. In this sacred moment, I release my white-knuckled grip on circumstances I cannot control. I stop pretending I have power I do not possess. I cease my futile attempts to be the architect of my own rescue. Instead, I fall completely, utterly, absolutely into the hands of divine providence, trusting that you will catch me and that through your intercession, God will accomplish what I cannot. This surrender, beloved Saint Anthony, is not resignation to defeat. It is not passive acceptance of disaster. It is not weak capitulation to circumstances. No, this is the most powerful action I can take. This is aggressive trust. This is militant faith. This is the courageous decision to stop fighting in my own limited strength and to allow unlimited divine power to fight on my behalf. I abandon myself into your care the way a child throws themselves into a parent's arms. Completely, without reservation, without calculation, without backup plans or safety nets. I surrender my need to understand how my miracle will happen. My mind has tortured itself trying to calculate possible solutions, attempting to figure out the mechanics of divine intervention, struggling to identify the logical pathway from impossibility to breakthrough. But I recognize now that my understanding is not required for my miracle to manifest. God's ways are higher than my ways. Divine solutions operate on frequencies my natural mind cannot detect. Supernatural intervention follows blueprints my limited intelligence cannot decipher. Therefore, I release my demand to comprehend and I simply choose to trust that you know the way when I do not. I surrender my timeline and my urgency into your hands, Saint Anthony. Yes, my deadline approaches rapidly. Yes, my situation demands immediate resolution. Yes, delay could mean disaster. I have made all of this clear in my desperate cry. But now I must also trust that your understanding of urgent aligns with heaven's perfect timing, which always arrives at the ideal moment. Not too early, not too late, but precisely when divine wisdom determines the timing will produce maximum glory for God and maximum blessing for me. I release my anxiety about when and I trust that the miracle will arrive exactly when it should. I surrender my preconceived ideas about what form my miracle should take. Perhaps I have been praying for money when God wants to give me something better than money. Maybe I have been begging for healing when divine wisdom plans to use the illness in ways that produce greater ultimate blessing. Possibly I have been demanding restoration of a relationship when heaven knows that freedom from that relationship is the true miracle I need. I do not know what I do not know. I cannot see what I cannot see. Therefore, I release my specific expectations and I trust that you will obtain for me not just what I think I need, but what divine love knows I actually need. Glorious Saint Anthony, I surrender every person involved in my crisis into the hands of divine mercy. The people who owe me money but refuse to pay, I release them to you, trusting that you will either soften their hearts to pay or provide my needed resources through different channels. The medical professionals who have declared my situation hopeless, I surrender them to you, believing that you will either give them supernatural wisdom or bypass them entirely with miraculous healing. The family members whose hardened hearts create relationship impossibility, I entrust them to you, confident that you will either melt their stone hearts or bring healing through unexpected means. I surrender the people who oppose me, who work against me, who seek my destruction. The enemies who spread lies about my character, the competitors who sabotage my success, the betrayers who violated my trust, the adversaries who celebrate my suffering. I place them all into your hands, Saint Anthony. I do not ask you to destroy them. I do not demand that you punish them. I simply trust that you will neutralize their power to harm me, that you will turn their weapons back upon themselves, that you will transform their evil intentions into instruments that accomplish my good. You specialize in making enemies become footstools and turning persecution into promotion. I surrender my past mistakes, my accumulated regrets, my history of failure. The bad decisions that created current consequences, the moral failures that produced present shame, the foolish choices that generated today's crisis. I lay them all before you, trusting in divine mercy that is greater than all my sins. I refuse to allow guilt to disqualify me from receiving miracles. I reject shame's voice that says I deserve my suffering. I silence condemnation's accusation that my past eliminates my future. Instead, I trust that divine grace specializes in redeeming what seems unredeemable, in restoring what appears permanently destroyed, in resurrecting what everyone declares dead. Saint Anthony, I surrender my reputation, my dignity, my public image. If my miracle requires humiliation, then let me be humbled. If my breakthrough demands that I lose face before gaining victory, then let my face be lost. If my restoration requires that I appear foolish to human observers, then let me be considered a fool. I care more about experiencing God's power than about protecting human opinions. I value miracle more than I value image. I prize breakthrough more than I prize reputation. Do whatever must be done to bring my miracle to pass, even if it requires me to endure temporary shame. I surrender my right to comfort, convenience, and ease. If the path to my miracle leads through difficulty, then let me walk that difficult path. If the journey to breakthrough requires me to endure temporary hardship, then let me endure with faith. If the process of divine intervention demands that I experience growing pains, stretching, pruning, or refinement, then let the process unfold as heaven determines. I will not demand that my miracle arrive wrapped in pleasant circumstances. I will accept it however it comes, in whatever package divine wisdom chooses to send it. Powerful Saint Anthony, I surrender my self-reliance, my stubborn independence, my prideful determination to handle things myself. I confess that this attitude has delayed my breakthrough, that my refusal to completely depend on divine intervention has prolonged my suffering. I have been like a drowning person who fights the rescuer instead of surrendering to being saved. I have been like a patient who argues with the surgeon instead of trusting the healing process. But now I stop fighting. I cease resisting. I quit struggling. I go limp in the arms of divine mercy, trusting completely that you will not drop me. I surrender my fear of disappointment. I acknowledge that this fear has kept me from fully believing, from completely trusting, from totally expecting my miracle. Part of me has been afraid to hope too strongly, worried that if I believe with all my heart and the miracle doesn't happen, the devastation will destroy me. But I recognize now that this self-protective fear actually prevents the miracle from manifesting. Faith requires risk. Trust demands vulnerability. Expectation necessitates the possibility of disappointment. Therefore, I choose to believe with reckless abandon, to trust with dangerous completeness, to expect with unprotected hope, knowing that even if I am disappointed, it is better to have believed courageously than to have protected myself through doubt. Saint Anthony, I surrender my need for signs, confirmations, and evidence before I believe. I will not demand that heaven prove itself before I trust. I will not require preliminary demonstrations before I have faith. I will not insist on small miracles as proof before I believe for the big miracle. Instead, I choose to believe first, to trust before I see, to have faith while circumstances still appear impossible. This is the kind of radical faith that moves heaven, that releases divine power, that produces miracles that astound even angels. I surrender my tendency to compare my crisis with others' situations, my habit of measuring my timeline against others' breakthroughs, my practice of evaluating my worthiness against others' apparent deserving. It does not matter that others seem to receive miracles faster, that their prayers appear answered more readily, that their faith produces quicker results. I am not in competition with other desperate souls. My miracle's timing has nothing to do with others' experiences. Divine mercy does not operate on a first-come first-served basis. Heaven's resources are not limited such that someone else's blessing diminishes mine. Therefore, I release all comparison, all competition, all measurement against others, and I simply trust that my miracle will arrive according to divine wisdom's perfect plan for my unique situation. Beloved Saint Anthony, I surrender my life, not just my crisis but my entire existence. I recognize that my desperation has forced me to see what comfort had hidden, that I need God not just for crisis intervention but for every breath, every moment, every aspect of life. This impossible situation, as painful as it has been, may be the greatest gift I have ever received if it drives me into permanent dependence on divine providence. Therefore, I commit that whether my miracle manifests or not, whether my crisis resolves or persists, whether my breakthrough arrives or delays, I will continue in this posture of total surrender, complete trust, and absolute dependence on divine wisdom. I place my entire being, body, soul, spirit, past, present, future, relationships, resources, hopes, dreams, fears, failures, into your hands, Saint Anthony. I trust you to present all of this before Jesus with such loving advocacy that divine mercy cannot refuse. I believe that you are even now negotiating on my behalf, arguing my case, pleading my cause, demanding my breakthrough with the kind of holy boldness that moves the heart of God. I surrender. I trust. I believe. I rest. Not in passive resignation but in active faith. Not in weak acceptance but in powerful confidence. Not in hopeless submission but in expectant assurance that my total abandonment into divine hands is the key that unlocks the door to my miracle. Saint Anthony of Padua, I have released everything into your care. Now I wait, not anxiously but peacefully, not doubtfully but confidently, not hopelessly but expectantly, for you to do what only you can do. Present my impossible situation before divine mercy in such a way that heaven has no choice but to respond with the miracle I desperately need. I declare with absolute certainty that you, Saint Anthony, have heard my desperate cry and have already presented my case before the throne of Jesus Christ with irresistible power. I announce that divine mercy has been moved by your intercession and has already released the resources necessary for my miracle. I proclaim that angelic forces have been dispatched from heaven with assignments to rearrange my circumstances, influence key people, open impossible doors, and manifest the breakthrough I need. I declare that what was stuck is now moving, what was closed is now opening, what was dead is now coming to life, what was impossible is now becoming inevitable. I proclaim over my financial devastation that supernatural wealth is erupting into my reality right now. Money that was frozen is being released at this very moment. Debts that were crushing me are being canceled even as I speak. Resources that were hidden are being revealed to me today. People who forgot they owed me are suddenly remembering and feeling compelled to pay immediately. Unexpected income streams are being created in ways I never imagined. Divine favor is causing people with resources to think of me and desire to bless me abundantly. I declare that before this day ends, evidence of financial breakthrough will begin to manifest in tangible ways. The famine is over. The drought has ended. The flood of provision has begun. I declare over every terminal diagnosis, every incurable disease, every hopeless medical situation that supernatural healing is flowing through my body and through the bodies of my loved ones right now. Cancer cells are dying at this very moment. Infections are being eliminated as I speak. Organs that were failing are being restored even now. Systems that were breaking down are being renewed right here. Pain that has tormented for months or years is being removed today. Mobility that was lost is being recovered immediately. Mental clarity that was stolen is being returned now. I announce that when I go for my next medical examination, doctors will be shocked, confused, and forced to use the word miracle because there will be no medical explanation for the transformation they discover. I am healed. I am whole. I am restored. The healing has already begun. I proclaim over every shattered relationship, every broken marriage, every destroyed family connection, every severed friendship that divine restoration is happening right now. Hearts that were stone are being softened at this very moment. Minds that were closed are being opened as I speak. Unforgiveness that seemed permanent is dissolving even now. Pride that prevented reconciliation is being shattered today. I declare that people who swore they would never speak to me again will contact me before this week ends. Relationships that everyone declared dead beyond resurrection are coming back to life right now. Love that was murdered is being raised from the grave. Trust that was destroyed is being supernaturally rebuilt. I announce that reconciliation is not just possible. It is already in motion in the spiritual realm and will manifest in the physical realm with shocking speed. I declare over every legal impossibility, every court battle that appears lost, every false accusation that threatens to destroy me, that divine justice is being released on my behalf right now. Truth that was buried is being unearthed at this very moment. Evidence that was missing is being discovered as I speak. Witnesses that were silent are finding their voices today. Judges that were biased are having their eyes opened even now. I proclaim that legal proceedings that were heading toward my destruction are being turned around right now. Cases that seemed hopeless are being won in ways that shock everyone involved. Charges that threaten my future are being dropped before their expected time. I declare that vindication is not coming. It has already been released in heaven and is manifesting on earth rapidly. My name will be cleared. My reputation will be restored. My future will be secured. The verdict is already decided in my favor. I proclaim over every addiction, every chain of bondage, every enslaving habit, every destructive compulsion that supernatural deliverance is happening right now. Chains that human power could not break are shattering at this very moment. Strongholds that counseling could not penetrate are being demolished as I speak. Desires that kept me or my loved one in slavery are being removed even now. Freedom that seemed like an impossible dream is becoming tangible reality today. I declare that the power of addiction is broken right now. The grip of substance is released immediately. The compulsion that drove destructive behavior is eliminated at this moment. I am free. My loved one is free. We are delivered. The liberation has already begun. I declare over career destruction, business collapse, financial ruin, opportunity loss that supernatural restoration is erupting into reality right now. Doors that were slammed shut are being blown open at this very moment. Opportunities that disappeared are being recreated as I speak. Reputation that was destroyed is being rebuilt even now. Businesses that were dying are being resurrected today. I proclaim that phone calls I have been waiting for will come this week. Emails I have been expecting will arrive within days. Meetings that will change everything are being arranged right now. People who can open doors are being divinely positioned to encounter me soon. Resources necessary for restoration are being released at this moment. I declare that my comeback will be so dramatic, so supernatural, so undeniable that everyone who witnessed my fall will be forced to acknowledge that only God could have produced this resurrection. Mighty Saint Anthony, I proclaim that you are not sitting passively in heaven observing my situation. You are actively, aggressively, relentlessly working on my behalf right now. You are speaking to Jesus about my crisis at this very moment. You are calling in divine favors as I pray. You are pulling spiritual levers that move earthly circumstances. You are deploying angelic forces to strategic positions. You are influencing human hearts in ways they don't even recognize. You are opening doors that no human can shut. You are making crooked paths straight. You are making rough places smooth. You are preparing the way for my miracle to manifest with undeniable power. Saint Anthony of Padua, I have moved from begging to declaring, from pleading to proclaiming, from asking to announcing. My miracle is in motion. My breakthrough is approaching. My impossible situation is being transformed. And nothing, no devil, no obstacle, no delay, no human opposition, can stop what you have already set in motion through your powerful intercession. The declaration is made. The proclamation is released. The miracle is manifesting.